Okay, good day everyone. I am Zarina Macy Agbarin, your Agape tutor for this session. Today we will be tackling a fundamental topic when it comes to financial management, particularly operating financial and combined leverages. For this session, we will first dive into the theoretical part of this specific topic, and then we will eventually move on to a problem solving segment. Sa problem-solving segment natin, I prepared a comprehensive problem where masasagot na natin lahat. Therefore, we can apply all the concepts learned in this lesson. Okay? Let us start first by defining leverage. What is a leverage? Ang sabi dito, in a business perspective, it is using fixed costs to boost profits and returns. And its purpose is to achieve higher returns with a smaller initial investment while while also requiring careful forecasting of expenditures and funding needs. Leverage. From the word itself, lever. A lever is used to help or to assist a machine in helping helping in lifting heavy things. Kung ang lever ginagamit siya to lift, then consider leverage as parang ang nililift mo dito is again yung profitability mo and yung mga returns mo. Okay? Um, I hope yun yung parang pinaka-gist ng leverage. And I hope I can expand it more in the next parts discussing um the types of leverage that you will encounter. Okay, for the first one, we have operating leverage. Ang definition niya, according to my PowerPoint, is the extent to which a company uses fixed operational costs in its cost structure in order to try to increase its profits. For its key characteristics, fixed costs remain constant regardless of production volume. A good example of this is investing in equipment or investing in a location. Like, for example, a building. Kapag bumili ka ng building for your, let's say, factory, syempre, consistent lang yung cost of depreciation niya. Hindi naman siya tataas, di rin siya bababa. Regardless kung gaano karami yung mga iproproduce mo na finished goods. And then, the next key characteristic based on this is variable costs decrease as automation or capital investment increases. A good example of this is labor. Ang labor kasi natin is considered a variable cost. For example, um, mas maraming employee, mas mataas yung labor cost, mas mataas yung binabayad natin na per hour rate. However, if we invest in a machine per se that helps in processing the materials imbes na yung mga workers natin yung magpuput in nung labor, then magde-decrease yung variable cost natin. However, yung fixed cost natin, tataas siya since mataas yung cash na gagastusin natin sa una to speed up or make the process more efficient. Ayan, high operating leverage, greater fixed costs, lower variable costs. Profitability increases significantly after break-even. Kumbaga, kailangan mo muna mag-break even kasi nga malaki yung portion ng fixed cost natin na kailangan mong mapunan as discussed naman sa ating capital budgeting decisions. And then, for the risk, if sales drop, fixed costs must still be paid. Halimbawa, nagbebenta ako ng, um, let's say, siopaw. And then sa siopaw na, and then yung sales natin, hindi gano'n kataas. Maraming i-expire. Siyempre, that's a loss on your part na, di ba? Pero, regardless if magkano yung benta natin, siyempre gagastos pa rin tayo. Like halimbawa nga yung depreciation expense, nagde-depreciate pa rin yung building natin. Or let's say nagre-rent ka, hindi naman tumataas o bumababa yung rent mo according to your sales, 'di ba? So, regardless kung ano man yung benta mo for that month, babayaran mo pa rin yung same amount. Kaya makikita mo dun yung effect niya when it comes to your net income as well as your profitability. And then, ayun nga, increases sensitivity to changes in sales volume. Yun na rin yun. Kapag kung nag-drop siya, babayaran yung cost. Kung tumaas siya, babayaran din yung cost. Pero if nag-break even ka na, which is halimbawa, na-earn mo na back yung money na gagastusin mo sa both fixed cost and variable cost, then, ayun, parang mas tataas na yung return of investment mo. Okay. Mag-move on naman tayo sa financial leverage. Financial leverage is the use of debt or equity to finance business operations and growth. Ayun. Unlike yung operational leverage kasi a good example is yung mga cash outflow natin as yun nga, discussed dun sa capital budgeting decision, meron tayong mga cash flow. Kapag bumibili tayo ng things na gagamitin natin to produce our finished goods if manufacturing business ka, ganun, for example. In terms of financial leverage naman, ang ginagamit natin debt or equity. We all know naman na ang composition ng capital usually is yun nga, debt investment or equity investment. Eto na siya, and ayun nga, ang trade-off is that higher potential returns but increased financial risk. Kumbaga, kapag kasi pinautang ka, magan since magkaka-money ka, siyempre, mataas yung return mo. Kaso, at the same time, babayaran mo siya with interest doon sa nagpautang sa'yo. As for equity naman, lower risk siya. Kasi nga, you don't have to pay anything. Kumbaga, wala kang financial liability towards debtors kasi parang di ka naman nangutang eh. Kaso, yun lang. Since kapag equity, we call it ownership. Kumbaga, nagkakaroon siya ng share sa company mo. Yung profit mo, hindi na sa'yo lang yon. Share mo na siya sa iba. Kumbaga, lumiliit na yung profit mo. So, ayan. To further expound that financing, for examples nga dito, yung mga loans na binibigay ng banks or yung mga bonds. So, borrowed capital with interest obligations. Ang pros niya is to maintain full ownership and profit potential. Sa'yo pa rin yung full ownership. And ayun nga, kapag kumita ka, sa'yo din yung kita mo. Kaso, yun nga, kailangan mong mag-repay back. And if hindi naging successful yung business mo, you still have to pay back the debt. Therefore, talagang malaki yung chance na malugi ka. It will result in a loss, ganon, and liquidation eventually, bankruptcy, yan. As for equity financing naman, which is the issuance of shares, common or preferred, ganon, capitals from investors in exchange for ownership. Like I said, pag nag-invest yung isang investor sa company mo, syempre magkakaroon siya ng part nun na parang kinokontrol na niya. So, ayun. Um, no repayment of obligations kasi nga parang di ka naman pinautang. So, hindi ka mape-pressure mangutang kung at a loss yung company mo. Kaso, ayun nga, possible na ma-dilute yung ownership. For examples, yung mga companies na um, bibilin is majority of the shares, like 50% plus one, then sila yung parang merong controlling interest, 'di ba? And ayun, because of that, nadidelete yung ownership, parang mas may power na sila to decide on your behalf. And then yung profits mo rin, again, hati siya. Kasi nga, you're gonna have to share them. Parang merong tayong earnings per share dyan. And according sa number of shares mo, yung parang matatanggap mo na part of your net income. Okay, next one is combined leverage. For combined leverage naman, ayan, combines operating leverage and financial leverage to assess total business risk. It offers a comprehensive view of a company's risk profile, helps in strategic decisions, and aids in finding the optimal mix of fixed costs and financing methods. Ito yung parang nasa gitna, parang the best way. to determine what's best for your business or ano yung pwede mong gawin to improve your profitability as well as your return on investment, return on assets. The best way to determine that is by looking at the combination of your operating leverage and financial leverage. Kasi dahil dito, makikita mo kung sumusobra na yung utang mo, mas mataas na ba siya um, kaysa sa na-earn mo from the business or mas mataas naman yung profit mo or kahit na nare-reach mo yung break-even and medyo mataas naman yung profit mo, hindi pa rin siya enough or meron pang room for improvement. Ayan. For the formula, flash ko na rin siya sa screen. Ayan. Ito yung mga commonly used na formulas which is yung break-even points in units as well as in peso, as well as the degree of operating leverage, the degree of financial leverage, and degree of combined leverage. Sometimes we also find the EPS, which I will show later na lang. Pero that is, hindi naman sa madalang siya, pero for this lesson kasi, mas focus tayo dun sa leverage part rather than the earnings per share. Ayan. So for break-even units, we have fixed cost over price per unit minus variable cost per unit. And then for break-even point in peso, fixed cost over contribution margin ratio. For DOL, meron tayong long formula dito as well as for DFL and DCL. Pero, if makikita nyo, halimbawa, itong price per unit minus variable cost, that's simply the contribution margin, di ba? So, if you are familiar with the concept of contribution margin, then you can find shortcuts to apply in this lesson. Pero for this specific lesson, nag-long formula tayo para at least parang mas maintindihan nyo paano siya nade-derive, 'di ba? Okay? So for DOL, we have quantity multiplied by price per unit minus variable cost per unit over the quantity times price per unit minus variable cost minus fixed cost. For another formula of DOL is yung sales minus total variable cost over sales minus total variable cost minus fixed cost. Kung makikita mo parang similar lang naman sila. Pero kasi yung isa, syempre minumultiply natin yung quantity if naka per unit sila. And yung next naman is kapag naka as a whole na sila. Same goes for combined leverage lang naman. And then for degree of financial leverage, earnings before interest and taxes over earnings before interest and taxes less interest. For DFL, sometimes we also less the preferred stocks or yung mga earnings ng mga preferred shareholders kasi they are considered as fixed finance costs. So, dahil doon, ang nagiging effect niya is tumataas yung ating leverage. Kasi nga, 'di ba, bago natin makuha yung shares natin is as ordinary shareholders kung may preferred, kailangan may bigay muna yun sa kanila. Ganun yung concept behind it. And then for degree of combined leverage naman, ayan, similar to DOL, pero nililess na natin yung interest doon sa denominator. Okay? Mag-move on tayo sa problem solving. Okay. Let me share my screen. Ayan. Okay. Medyo malabo yata siya kanina. But okay. Ayan. Let's read the problem first, okay? The Junior Philippine Institute of Accountants and Auditors United Incorporated, or JPAU, is a manufacturing company that specializes in the production of basic calculators commonly used by accounting students in the Philippines. The chief accountant of the enterprise, Nicholas, prepared the income statement for the month of April 2025. The information is as follows. So, ito yung income statement. Additionally, JPAU has the following capital structure. So may debt siya at 10% interest rate as well as common stock na 50,000 shares at 100 par. Okay? Ang pinapa-compute is the DOL, DFL, DCL, break even in units in peso, EPS and EPS assuming na tumaas yung debt and bumaba yung common stock. Pero yung pagtaas ni debt may kaakibat na higher rate and then yung pagbaba ni common stock stay lang at the par value. Okay, let's start na. Uh, Yan. Okay. So for the first one, we have the degree of operating leverage. If we look at the formulas kanina, ano yung pwede natin gamitin? Pwede tayo mag-shortcut na sales na lang, less total variable cost, tama ba? Pero for this one, I will show you the long cut formula na lang din para alam nyo saan nanggagaling yung ibang things. Pero if mas nadadalian kayo dun sa short formula, then no problem with that. You follow that principle. The important thing in this lesson is you understand the concept of the contribution margin. Like, etong income statement na to, eto na yun eh. Yun na yung basis mo. Kasi kapag sales less variable cost, yun na yung parang contribution margin mo. 'Di ba? Ayan. Okay. So, first is letter A, degree of operating leverage. Ang gagamitin nating formula is eto. The, yung quantity multiplied by price less variable cost over quantity multiplied by price less variable cost, tas ile-less pa natin si fixed cost. So with that, we will have 4,000, etong quantity na 4,000 basic calculators. Multiply natin with the 500 na selling price less yung variable cost natin na na-incur. Ayan. Tapos, 'di ba, same lang siya sa baba. And then, we also less the fixed cost sa denominator, which is etong 95,000. So, with that, follow the formula lang and then you will get 1.08. Kasi, ano eh, yun na yung parang pinaka-gist niya. Pero if you can see this, pwedeng direct number ka na lang eh. For example, to, Q multiplied by price minus variable cost. Etong si price niya, 2 million. You just less this 720. Eto na yon. Kasi if titingnan mo, pareho lang naman. Like I said earlier, kung mas madadalian kayo sa shortcut, yun na lang. And ayun, basta you will get the answer of 1.08 following this formula. Okay, let's underline that. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Now, moving on, ang hinihinging next is degree of financial leverage. Similar dun sa degree of operating leverages natin, we can follow the formula as stated doon sa PowerPoint natin. For this one, madali lang siya. Earnings before interest and taxes over earnings before interest and taxes less interest. Okay? If you remember kanina, sinabi ko if may preferred stock, you also less that. Pero wala naman, so interest lang yung ibabawas natin. So, for this one, you just find the earnings before interest and taxes, 1,185,000, then over yon 1,185,000 lang ulit, less yung ating interest. So, you will get here a degree of financial leverage of 1.27. Clear? I hope clear siya sa inyo, guys. Pero if hindi, you can make balik naman sa problem na to. And I will be providing the materials na rin naman as well. Okay? Next, let's go for the degree of combined leverage. For this one, similar lang sa DOL. 'Di ba? Ang sinabi ko naman, may nag-a-add lang sa mga formula natin. So for DCL, eto. Similar lang siya, but here we also less the interest. So, uulit lang ito. So 4,000 times 500 minus 180 over 4,000 times 500 minus 180 minus 95,000. Then we will also less itong interest of 250,000. Ayan. Therefore, we will arrive at an answer of 1.37. Ayan. Okay. So, ang bilis, di ba? Natapos agad natin yung degree of operating leverage, degree of financial leverage, and degree of combined leverage. And, ayun. Now, we can move on doon sa break-even points natin, which is letter D and letter E. One in units and one in peso. So, start na natin. So, for the units, nagbigay ako ng formula here. And ang formula natin is simply fixed cost over price less variable cost. Ayan. So, for that, hanapin na yung fixed cost, 95,000 over etong 500 minus 180. Tama ba? Kaso kasi hindi pala 500 minus 80. We will do 2 million minus 720. Kasi ano pala, buo. Pero pwede rin naman na 500 minus 180. Pareho lang naman. Naka per unit lang naman siya. So, ayan. 95,000 fixed cost over 500 minus 1. And then we will get 296.88. Therefore, our break-even point in units is 296.88 units. Kung realistically speaking, we're gonna have to make that 297 units kasi nga, di naman pwedeng 0.88 lang yung part ng calculator na binibenta ni JPAU, di ba? Okay? Ayan. Tapos, in peso. Now, look at this. I will show you something. If you go here, uh, you will see na yung formula natin is fixed cost over contribution margin ratio. How do we get the contribution margin ratio? To get the contribution margin ratio, syempre, hahanapin natin to. 500 minus 180 or 2 million minus 720. Pareho lang naman kahit anong value yung gamitin mo dyan. After that, you will get the contribution margin kasi nga sales less variable cost lang yon. Since nakuha mo na si contribution margin, you will have to divide it by the sales naman to determine the contribution margin ratio. If ganito, tatry nyo 720 over 2 million or 180 over 500 or 500, makikita nyo same lang naman yung makukuha natin. So, dito, gagawin lang natin 95,000. Ito. Divide natin siya. Sige, sa total yung gamitin natin. So, 95,000 over yung 2 million minus 720,000 over 2 million. Para lang makuha yung margin. Ganyan siya nun. 'Di ba? Okay. And then you will get an amount of 148,437.50. How do you check if you got the right amount? Ate Za, paano natin i-check? There's a simpler way to get this break-even point in peso, especially if you already got the break-even point in units. If given naman si selling price, which is 500, you can simply, uh, wait, let me, okay, ayan. You can simply get this 296.88 units and multiply it with the cost per unit. Cost of selling selling price. So, you will get na 148,437.50. Same ba sila? Same sila. Therefore, tama yung sagot natin. Okay? Okay, move on na tayo. So, nagtapos na natin yung break-even point. Ang dali, di ba? If hindi ako mistaken, nauna na itong naturo sa cost accounting. Therefore, dapat medyo mas easier yung concept. In Finman, I've noticed na mas longer lang naman yung formula. Pero same siya sa concept ng cost accounting. So, you can use the formulas na shortcut. For example, si um, contribution margin, di ba? You can simply say na, for example, ito. Uh, yung P minus VC, pwede mo siyang i-call na contribution margin. Hindi mo na need isipin na, ay, ano pa to? Price less variable cost per unit. Eh di ba parang tumagal pa, eh yung hinahanap lang naman natin is contribution margin. Yun lang naman, just some tips along the way. Okay, so now let's move on to letter F, which is earnings per share. For earnings per share, ang sinabi ko kanina sa theoretical part of our discussion is ang earnings after interest and taxes or yung EAT. Ito. Ang gagawin lang natin is you divide it by the number of shares. So, for example, etong 748,000, i-divide natin siya sa number of shares. Nandito ba sa problem natin kung ilang shares yung meron yung company? Yes, 'di ba? Kasi pinakita niya yung capital structure. And here, clearly, nakikita natin na meron tayong, what? 50,000 shares. So you simply find the EAT, 748,000, and then divide it by the number of total shares. So you will get, ayan, you will get 14.96 per share yung EPS natin. Okay? Wow, ang taas. Okay. Now let's move on sa G. Ito yung medyo mas complicated part, which will assess kung naiintindihan nyo talaga yung pagkakagawa ng income statement natin. Or if may mga inconsistency, ganon, you can really check if maintindihan mo siya. Ang sabi, earnings per share if debt goes up by 500,000 and a new rate of 15% and common stock goes down by PG 500,000 maintaining a 100 par value. Based dito, nakikita natin debt at 10% to 5, which is why yung interest natin dito 10%, 'di ba? Kaso, in this case, what will happen? Mag-iiba siya. Kasi yung interest natin mag-iiba na eh. So, mag-iiba na yung less natin. Pero since wala namang given na EBIT na parang pinapa-assume ng new EBIT, we will still stick kung ano man yung meron dito. So, ayan. To make it more concise, start na lang tayo agad sa earnings before interest and taxes. For this one, ayan. Start natin sa EBIT. Ayan. Ang EBIT natin is 1,185,000. Tapos, sundan natin yung format, which is yung, ayan, less interest at 15%, earnings before taxes, less taxes at 20% pa rin since di naman nag-change si tax rate, and earnings after taxes. In this case, if you can see, ang interest natin 15% na. Bakit? Ang sabi dito, yung new rate niya is 15%. Tama ba? Okay. Now, Ate Za, how do we get the interest ba? Like I said, tingnan mo to. 2.5 lang siya multiplied by 10, you will get 250. So, match ba ang principle na pinapakita ng capital structure natin sa income statement? Match siya, di ba? You can use that as basis. You can use that as basis. Therefore, you can just multiply the debt doon sa percentage na bago. Kaso, we will also have to consider na eto, meron siyang sinabi na debt goes up by 500,000. Anong gagawin natin nun? You will add 500,000 dito sa value ng capital structure. So, 2.5 plus 500,000, we will get 3 million. Tama ba? Ayun. If you get the 3 million, you will just multiply it by the new rate na 15%. And you will arrive at the value of 450,000 for your interest. Taas, di ba? Interest pa lang yun. So, after that, sunod-sunod na yung gagawin natin. Similar na lang dun sa dati eh. So, 1185 minus 450, you will get the value of 735,000. Tapos magle-less pa tayo ng taxes natin. Ililess natin is 20%. So, 735,000 times 20%. You will get 147,000. And then, Ililess natin tong dalawa and you will get an earnings after tax of 588,000. Ang tanong, nagtatapos na ba dyan? Hindi, 'di ba? Kasi ang hinihingi is earnings per share. Now, ilan ang common stock natin? Dati, we have 50,000 shares of common stock. However, ang sabi dito, common stock goes down by 500,000, maintaining a PHP 100 par value. Sa tingin nyo, anong mangyayari during that time? Etong si 5 million natin sa common stock, mababawasan siya. It will result in a value of 4,500,000 na lang. Kaso tig 100 pa rin yung par value niya. It means, bumaba yung number of shares natin. Kasi if titingnan mo, yung 4,500, di-divide mo ng 100,000, liliit siya. Tama ba? Tama, di ba? Kapag yung 4,500, di-divide mo ng 100, magiging less yung shares, hindi na siya magiging 50,000, magiging 45,000 na lang siya. Kaya, what do we do after that? Same process. Ang mangyayari is itong earnings after taxes, di-divide lang natin siya sa new number of shares, which is 45,000. So, 588 divided by 45,000, you will get 13.07. So, this is the new earnings per share. Eto. Highlight lang natin. Okay. Ito na yung bago nating earnings per share. Sorry. Oh my God, nag-white font pala siya. Okay. So we have an earnings per share of 13.07. Kung i-compare natin siya, less siya kesa dun sa nauna. Ayan. Okay. So, yun lang naman. It's the best way I think na ituro ko siya is to have it applied in a comprehensive problem and solve it together. If titingnan natin, hindi naman siya ganun kahirap kasi nga medyo mas naging transparent tayo as to how the system works. Alimbawa, eto, meron naman siyang value. Papakita natin paano nakuha each. Pero nga, if may masanay na kayo dun sa shortcut, which yun nga, yung mga contribution margin approach, then you just follow that. Kasi nga, easier siya eh. Pero I really just wanted you guys to see the holistic picture or the bigger picture. Kasi nga, mas madaling mag-derive if naiintindihan mo yung concept niya. Ayun. So, I hope you really learned a lot from this lesson, whether theories or solving. Pero I would admit na medyo mas heavy tayo dito sa solving. Kasi in terms of uh, leverage, marami talagang possible formulas. And kahit na iisa lang yung concept nila, you're gonna have to need to study them. Kasi depende pa rin sa given eh. In this case nga, given na yung mga thing, pero parang yung pinakita kong solution sa inyo is yung mano-mano pa rin. Para, yun nga, talagang mas clear and mas maintindihan nyo siya. Okay? So, that's it for our tutorial today. I hope you really understand our lesson regarding leverage. And I really hope that um, you will learn to appreciate not only this lesson, but also the subject itself, which is financial management. If there are any questions, you can send me a message. But other than that, if you wanna access these files, I will just upload them and then you can study them. Total, yung mga formula inputted naman dito. Oh, you can backtrack per cell naman. And ayun, I will also upload the PowerPoint containing the important part of the theories as well as the compilation of formulas. Ayun. I really hope you learned a lot and see you on our next one in JN Spirit. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.